Well, as Chris just mentioned, it's actually become sort of like an annual deal because Montana State's been so good at football the last couple of years. Former voice of the Bobcats, Kris Atteberry, joining us here on the Big Sky Breakdown. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for doing this.
I'm doing well. I hope you had a good holiday. It's a little cold and snowy in Minnesota, but we are all geared up to get to Nashville and see if the Bobcats can't finish one of these things off.
Well, you have such good perspective on this because you've seen highs, lows, and everything in between. But what do you make of just the fact that Montana State is, I mean, do the math. What are they, 18 and or 28 and 3 over the last 2 years? And the three losses came in a row. They've had a 15 game and a 13 game winning streak on either side. I mean, it's been unbelievable to watch the level that they've gotten to.
Really, you start thinking not about teams, but more about program, right? It's more of a program thing. I mean, they lost that phenomenal group of seniors, and we're still great with Tommy at the helm. They lose a generational player in Tommy, and they have to fill holes on the staff too, and they keep chugging along. And I give Vigue so much credit there, right? I mean, I think he has that steady hand on the rudder. There's the intensity, and we saw a little more of it this year on the sideline, but he's so steady in terms of this is what we do. I don't care who we're playing. I don't care when we're playing them. I don't care who's actually in the game. This is what we do. This is how we practice. This is how we lift weights. This is our nutrition program. This is our recruiting profile. This is who we are, and we stick with that identity, and then we trust that when you get into a big spot, like when you fall behind, to the Grizzlies after the big start, that you just do what you do and it pays off. And I think that's testament to him and a testament to the guys they brought in who all buy into that. Because if you don't buy into it, I don't think you stick around in Bozeman very long.
No matter how far you may go, there's always one just down the road. Town Pump, who pump it up, pump it up.
Town Pump has been Montana's best since 1953, and Town Pump is proud to send Skyline Sports on the road to Nashville. Montana State is gunning for its first national championship in 41 years. Follow along at SkylineSportsMT.com. The road to Nashville, proudly presented by Town Pump.
Town Pump, right down the road, pump it up, oh yeah.
Great game out there today, boys. That was awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, check it out. We got the new fifth quarter jerseys and a note from Tommy. Tommy says, best of luck this season, and remember to keep the fifth quarter tradition alive. Whoa! Hey, guys, look. We made it to the R-Bar.
I'm already ready to go.
Our plays are on fire today, boys.
Yeah, so these wings. And the drinks are secured.
Cheers to our bar.
Fifth quarter.
Meet the MSU players here at the R-Bar after every home game.
Montana State Quarterback Club is helping us get down to Nashville, and I was hanging around their meeting on Monday, and it was so fun to be around those guys because for people of a certain age, to beat the Grizz once in any number of years was a huge deal. So then to beat them twice in 28 days, I mean, Christmas come early times a million for some of these older guys that have been in the quarterback club for a long time. So what do you make of that? I mean, 8 out of 10 for the Cats now. I mean, it's becoming a real narrative that they are just dominating the rivalry in general, and they're dominating in state. And I think those two things go hand in hand. But the fact that they beat Montana twice in the span of a month, what do you make of it?
I think I am of that certain age, right? Like, I mean, the
Right.
streak, which again, I think the more we do this, the less we can talk about the streak, which would be great. But the fact of the matter is that when they won on I think my 13th birthday, and then didn't win again until I was 30 and working for the team. So think about how those are scars for people of my age. And I guess I'm kind of probably on the lower end of that. And I remember going to those quarterback club meetings and hosting events with Kramer back in the day when we broke the streak. And it was wild, Lula to Adams and the weight of the world. But then I think where we are now is it's not if, it's expectations. And I think it's beyond just beating the Grizzlies. And I like what JP Flynn said with you earlier this week. He goes, who cares what they're doing? Let's do what we do. And I think that goes back to what I was talking about with Coach Vegan and the way he approaches things. Let's worry about us and let everybody else worry about everything else. And this year, I actually, with my friends and the guys I share tickets with, I said at the start of the year, we have the big text thread. I said, I don't even want to know who the Grizzlies are playing. I don't care. I don't care who their quarterback is. I don't care what they're doing. I'm not going to worry about them until we're playing them. And I think that's something the program has done. And I think that's part of the reason they've dominated the rivalry, but more importantly, dominated the conference. And if you dominate the Big Sky Conference, you've got a chance to be in the national championship picture. And now we have to plug that final piece into the puzzle so we don't become the Buffalo Bills.
As somebody that follows it closely, what were you thinking coming out of last year? Because the ending of last year was so disappointing for I think most people just in Montana, because that was such a Montana-made group of guys.
Yeah,
They had such a fighting chance, and then it all fell apart. And then it seemed like the program itself was sort of unraveling even after the championship game loss. So what did you think? What were your expectations for Montana State coming into this year?
I think I spent the first month after the game cursing the offensive coordinator who left for Temple, wondering where he was in the first half and if he was working on his Temple files instead of actually letting Tommy do his thing. I think that was the first month. You got to remember, every January with the Twins, I go to South Dakota and North Dakota for these caravan events.
Right.
And everyone knows I'm a huge Bobcat fan. And they show up in their Bison jerseys or their Jackrabbit jerseys. And I've been wearing it, man. And then they always, every summer, we had it again this summer, the Bison came to Target Field and they trot the trophy out and all their linemen have big beards and look like Thor. And I'm just like, I just had enough of this. So I wear it on the front lines a lot when we lose to NDSU and SDSU. And then the big question for me was quarterback. I thought first when Bobby Daly left to UTEP, he was a guy that I had a chance to work with when I was there, and I love Bobby. Happy for him, but I thought, okay, that's a big shoes to fill. And then I worried about the quarterback. I think like most people did, because we get spoiled. And I think we talked about it last year. The Final Four teams last year all had program quarterbacks who'd been around
Forever, yeah.
4 years. And honestly, I know Bobcat fans might be getting a little cocky. Some of them. This Rittenhouse kid's been around a long time, and he's the type of quarterback that you want,
Yep.
the guy that's in your program. I would argue that when the Bobcats started to gain ground and pass the Grizzlies was when the Grizzlies were going into that take a drop-down quarterback every year who's a new guy, and the Bobcats were investing on developing quarterbacks, which is something that in the state and age of college football, people don't really do anymore. It's develop. And I think that's where we got our biggest advantage to shoot by them. So Lamson was the question. Look, I'm a Stanford grad. Like, you know, I was cheering for him. Stanford to Montana State, I can get behind that, right? Those are my two schools. But I didn't know. And I think the athleticism was obvious early. I think early on the decision-making had to come, and I think that just came from reps. The poor guy, wherever he'd been at Syracuse at Stanford was, you know, it was like he was in for a special package, then he was yanked out. Or if he missed a throw, he was yanked out. And so I give Viggs and the OC and the whole staff a ton of credit for believing in him. Even when I think early on some of the decision making was a little iffy, I think they were like, no, you're our guy. And he settled in. And the game he played in Missoula was as well executed a game as a quarterback could ever play.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we know he's tough, we know he's athletic, but I mean, he dotted everything. And then he struggled into Yale. I think a lot of guys did coming out of that break, and Yale's pretty good. But I think Lamson was the big question. I think he's answered those questions.
When I was approached by a group of men, you know, really right out of our national championship appearance, I think they saw NIL as an opportunity to continue to allow our program to grow. And it was very well thought out of. At the time, they didn't just come up with this on a whim. I think they studied other institutions across the country at all levels to be able to do it right, to be able to implement it the right way, align themselves ultimately with Blueprint after talking, I think, with several outside entities on how it should be managed. All our intentions with the Bobcat Collective are in the right place, and that's the most important thing. You know, they're about continuing to promote our program, allowing our guys opportunities to help along with that. I think that's really important. It really, I think, has provided this give and take. You know, our guys are certainly benefiting from it, but then they're giving back at the same time, whether it's individual opportunities with particular businesses or just in general giving back through the collective to our community.
Dusty Dawes of State Farm Insurance is a third-generation State Farm agent and a second-generation Bobcat football player. His State Farm agency in Bozeman has been locally owned and operated for 13 years, and Dusty's crew has a combined 40 years of experience with 5 fully licensed professional team members. Dusty Daz State Farm offers auto, home, life, health, and small business insurance. They also are community-driven, supporting Montana State Athletics, Bozeman and Gallatin High School, Belgrade High School, and Park High in Livingston. Dusty Daz has also given back to the Bozeman Cancer Center, Fort Ellis Fire Station, and the Shane Center in Livingston. Former All-American long snapper and tight end/offensive lineman, played under Mike Kraber 2000 until 2004. Dusty and his team can be reached anytime at 406-586-0084 or at dustydaz.com. Dusty Daz State Farm Insurance, proud to support Skyline Sports and send us on our road to Nashville.
Shine Beer Sanctuary is leading the charge when it comes to promoting beer culture in Montana. Located at the corner of Church and Main and downtown Bozeman, the locally owned and operated tap house and bottle shop has the best beer selection in the Treasure State. The bar has 32 rotating beers on tap with everything from Duvel to local ciders, gluten-free beers, and non-alcoholic options. The bottle shop has more than 400 beer offerings from all over the world, and Shine offers Cicerone-trained beer guides. Come enjoy beer heaven at Shine Beer Sanctuary in Bozeman.
It was funny in the post-game press conference after the first rivalry game because Tom Stuber, one of our guys at Skyline Sports, he asked Vegan, he said, Justin Lamson just had one of the most efficient and maybe greatest games in the history of this rivalry. And Vegan hadn't really looked at the stats yet. He looks down, he goes, wow, 18 for 20. And he rushed for 100. Oh, wow. It was
So I was talking so Dave Fleming is a dear friend of mine, old friend from college. He
did a great job on the call.
Yeah, and he was pumped about it. And so he and Brock had their meeting, and I was talking with Bill Lamberty, and one of Brock's questions was to Lamson, and this was classic Lambo, ringing the, oh no, was he asked him, wasn't Wa Grizz amazing? Like, what was it like? Wasn't that amazing? And I told him what Lamson's answer should have been was, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I completed everything. It was like you just throw the ball and they catch it. Like, wow.
It's hilarious. That's awesome. But Lamson, I was thinking about this the other day. I haven't actually presented this point to anybody yet, so this is the debut of this point. But I wonder if the fact that Lamson hadn't been here very long actually took some pressure off of him in terms of taking over for Tommy Mellott. Like if you had been in the state of Montana for a couple of years and you knew just like not just the player, but also just like the phenomenon, like the fact that there's this baby-faced kid from Butte, America, who's, he turns into Superman in these big games and nobody knows how he does it. And he has like like that South Dakota State game when he was a freshman, it's like an out-of-body experience, man. Like the guy like went crazy and he becomes this legend as a 19-year-old kid. And then he's able to handle it. He's able to handle it for multiple years. And I mean, you could argue he's even the face of the university. But Lamson didn't even get here till May. So, I don't know if he even knew about that.
He wasn't daunted by it because he didn't know it. He didn't understand it. He was just looking to prove himself. And it kind of ties back into the program mindset. Let's worry about us, right? And what I love about Coach Vegan is he so embraces all Bobcats from the past, and he keeps that family alive. I mean, Ty Okada was on the sideline, I know, for the game against the Grizzlies, and guys are always around. And yet at the same time, they never focus on what was. They always they're always looking forward. They're like a horse with blinders, and it's like, we love Ty. We love what Troy did. We love what Tommy did. These guys are irreplaceable. They stand alone on what they did and what they accomplished. But now it's us, so we're going to have to ride with our guys, and let's worry about us. And I think Lamson coming in late, that probably did help. And it doesn't help when you got that sort of a physique either, man. That's a big, strong, tough kid right there. And I think a lot of the mental ability of him to become the player he's become, that you got to credit, again, the coaching staff, because even Bobby almost had a compliment about how the Bobcats haven't missed on recruits, really. And that's a big part of it. The mental part of it is, how many drop-down guys have we seen at all programs who show up and they think they're They're going to have it made and they're going to cruise, and they just don't have the right mindset. I think it takes a certain mindset to play for Montana State. I don't think anybody can play for Montana. It's not for everybody. I don't think playing for NDSU is for everybody. SDSU's finding that out now as they're changing who they are and trying to figure out what they're going to be. And you're seeing the floodgates open at the end of the year. But if you come to Montana State, it's not, oh my God, thank God you're here, you're our savior. It's, here's what we do. We like you a lot. Jump in, grab an oar, as Tom Kelly used to say, and row with us. And I think they picked the right guy who was willing and able to do that.
We can't allow them to find any hope. No hope. Make it mean something, fellas. Now is the time. This is the place. Any team, anywhere, anytime.
Y'all take the fight to him.
It's going to be picked off. Take it.
Take one leap. Episode 6.
Skyline Sports is on the road to Nashville, and we couldn't get there without our friends at Dawes Insurance. Brad Dawes has been serving Montana and Idaho with State Farm for more than 50 years, particularly Bozeman and Big Sky. Brad's team of 12 professionals has more than 100 years of combined experience and among the best trust of any insurance agency in Montana. Brad and his son Dusty are the only father and son duo to earn All-American honors each for Montana State football. Brad was an All-American defensive lineman for legendary head coach Sonny Holland in the 1970s. And Dusty was a All-American long snapper and offensive lineman for Mike Kramer in the early 2000s. Dawes Insurance offers a full line of State Farm products, including auto, home, life, health, and business insurance. Brad and his team can be reached at 406-586-HOME or braddawes.com. Dawes Insurance, proud to help Skyline Sports on our road to Nashville.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Yeah, the personality evaluation that they have been able to hone in on has been so impressive. They got a lot of guys that are wired similarly. It's interesting, you being a Stanford guy too. Lamson, the Stanford comes out in him when you're interviewing him a lot. Like, you'll lob him a softball or give him a compliment, and he'll immediately go in and start dissecting like the one thing that he did wrong, because he's like such a perfectionist. Like, he'll even take this like pretty positive, loose questions and just go right into like, well, here's the things I could have done better. It's just so funny. You can just tell he's like just a high achiever, perfectionist type. I'm sure you were around a lot of those types of people during your college days.
Yeah, and they were wondering what I was doing there. You start to worry with Lamson is when the Syracuse starts to come out, because all those Syracuse broadcasters with those pregnant pauses, you'll be asking him questions, right? And he'll be like, Then there he goes. Yeah, like all those Syracuse TV guys that they produce. But yeah, he's been great. He was the biggest question, right? And he's been great. I mean, you knew what Adam Jones was. You knew what Julius could do. Taco. How about my guy Steele on the outside, right? Oh, how can you not love the whole Steele family, man? Give me the Steeles and the Greavies and the O'Reillys, and we'll take on the world. Let's go.
It's interesting to me that, like, it's always been interesting to me that states like Wyoming and Idaho don't come into Montana and recruit more. Because why wouldn't you? Like, when maybe you just think that everybody's just going to go to the Cats or the Grizz, but why not try a little bit? But I've thought the same thing about Wyoming. I mean, the Cats are like 5 for 5 on Wyoming guys, including these 3 brothers, all from Sheridan. And
let's go back to Tommy White in 1984 out of Riverton, right? And Wyoming kids. So my first job out at Stanford was in Cody, Wyoming. I worked for 2 years in Cody, Wyoming, doing high school stuff before I came back to MSU. And Wyoming people love their sports, and they're tough, and they're into it. And they all grew up wanting to play for the Cowboys.
Yep.
And very few get the chance to play for the Cowboys. And it is odd that more wouldn't come north. And I think it is something where, like, Montana kids, I think, get overlooked because they're in Montana, right? People are like, oh, well, they're in Montana, they can't be that great. And it takes like a Ludwig, or back in my day, it was a John Knutson who went to Colorado from CMR, or an Eli Workman who went to Colorado State. I mean, those guys were few and far between. I mean, I think we went like 25 years without a Division I basketball, a male basketball player from a Montana high school going to a school and not bouncing back and ending up at Carroll or MSU or UM. I mean, they got overlooked a lot. And
Yeah.
I don't know why that's still the case, because all you got to do is look at NFL rosters, right? You know, look at the Junior Bergens of the world, and look at the, Kyle Cotta's not a Montana kid, but why wouldn't you look at those kids and realize, I think a big part of it is that we don't develop anymore. And the big colleges, they don't want to develop you. They want to, how'd you like to be the backup or third string quarterback at the University of Miami? You dreamed to be a Hurricane. You went through every offseason workout. You sweat it all out. And then when, one guy graduates and it's your turn, they buy a dude from another school. And then when he graduates, they buy another dude. And now they wonder who they'll buy for next year. Like, that's kind of where it is. So developing is huge. And I think, look around the FCS, teams that have long-term quarterback guys, not 1 year plug and play guys. Those are programs that thrive.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The advocates will fight for you because you deserve clarity, you deserve justice, you deserve guidance, you deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
I was talking to Leon Costello about that exact dynamic when the Cats were playing at Oregon. Montana State's athletic director was basically like, they scheduled a game in 2019, and he's like, if I would have known what was coming with NIL and stuff, I'm not scheduling this game.
Well, I told Lambeau when the women's basketball team played out there, I said, don't play Chiric. You got to leave Taylor at home.
Right.
Like, you can't let her play that game.
Totally.
They're going to be waiting for her with a sack of money after the game.
Totally.
Come on.
No doubt. But that was the craziest part about that, was watching. Usually when you go watch a Montana State or a Montana versus a Power 5, it's a huge gap when the starters are on the field, but then they put the backups in, and Montana State starters and Oregon's backups are sort of even, and then, okay, now they're winning by a lot, so they put their third string in. Oh, the Montana State starters are much better than the Oregon third string. Now every single dude is a 4 or 5 star recruit.
Yeah.
I mean, like when they put their fifth string in, the running back was the number 1 running back in the country coming out of high school. The guy in the press box told me he's making $300,000 to be the 5th string running back at Oregon.
Oh, that.
The third quarterback is some guy who transferred from who knows where. I mean, every guy's making 6 figures. It's just crazy. That's a whole.
I think especially the linemen, right? That's what we see. I remember when NDSU and MSU played in the playoffs a couple years ago, the big boys were talking about the different offers they were getting. Because one thing a lot of the big programs haven't been able to figure out is how to develop linemen, because it's hard to do. And one thing that programs like Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Illinois State have figured out how to do is to take a big-ish kid and turn him into a highly skilled physical college lineman. So they play for 2 years, they get a ton of reps, and then here comes the bigger school saying, oh, thank you for developing our guys. And you can fight that, or you can kind of lean into it. I feel like the Bobcats have leaned into it in a healthy way. Like, you know what, Connor, go to Michigan State. Good luck. But we feel like the next guy is going to step in and be good too. So let's go.
I mean, yesterday it happened to North Dakota State again. Bo Johnson, their big tackle. The rumor is it's a 7-figure offer that has him leaving. So the amount of money, man, it's crazy. But we digress. What do you think of just the challenge Montana State faces now? Because I think that the biggest obstacle, other than the opponent that they're playing, which I think is a good opponent, and you mentioned Rittenhouse, I think he's a savvy, experienced quarterback. But it's overcoming the thought that they already have won the national championship, right? Like they beat the Grizz twice. That was sort of a de facto national championship game, but it wasn't. You still got to go to Tennessee and win it. So what do you make of just that part of the narrative?
Well, there's two parts of that. I think that is a narrative, but that's for us. That's for fans. That's for media.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that's allowed in the BAC. I know Brent Vigen doesn't think that way, and I know none of the players are allowed to think that way. And I know that 1-0 this week is more than just wordplay. I think that's something that they thrive on. I just think Biggs is so good in every type of scenario in terms of keeping the heads level and getting the work done. That I'm not too concerned about that internally. I think they very much have a ton of respect for Illinois State. I think that's more a fan issue, and I think that's a good thing because we don't play. We don't have to play, so I'm not too worried about that. I also feel like the break, the 2 weeks, is a good one. You play the biggest game of your life, but then there's Christmas and there's New Year's and there's family and there's 2 weeks of hard practices, and then you get to play the biggest game of your life. And I can't imagine for a second that a room that has Paul Broad in it or Kenny Iden is going to, at any point in time, have any sense of let up. Because those guys were on the field last year and they were in tears afterwards, knowing that they felt they should have won that football game, that they thought they had the better team. So I really think that there's not going to be any let up with the type of leadership they've got, staff-wise and player-wise. I think the thing to overcome is Illinois State. And people can say, oh, they were unseated. And look, they haven't lost a road game all year. I mean, who does that, right? So that tells you all you need to know. They won in Fargo. Well, no one has to tell a Bobcat fan how hard it is to win in Fargo. And what I think you need to think about is they didn't just win in Fargo. They won in a game where their quarterback threw 5 picks.
Right.
It wasn't like they had to go play.
They gave them a special teams touchdown too.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way they could win that game, and they still did.
Usually you'd say, oh, they won. They played a perfect game, and Fargo and the Bison didn't play well. No, they threw 5 interceptions and still won. They're big and nasty on the line. They got some impact transfers, a great wide receiver who's a veteran guy. And oh, by the way, they might have been unseeded, but they were, what were they, number 6 in the country preseason, right? This is not an upstart Cinderella just happy to be there. Their coach has been there 100 years, does a great job. They have high expectations. And I think with the media narrative being, oh, yeah, the Bobcats by 10, that's nuts, man. This is not a 10-point spread. These are two really good teams that I think are probably more similar than different. I think the Bobcats are the best top to bottom team in FCS, and I think they should win. But I don't think that there's anything about this game that is to be taken lightly.
You're not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
Town & Country Foods, proud to support the 2025 Bobcats on their way to Nashville, and also proud to support Skyline Sports on their road to Nashville as well. Town & Country Foods is 100% employee-owned. They have 9 locations serving Bobcat Nation around Southwest Montana. Town & Country Foods focuses on great food at a great price with a huge selection of organic and natural foods. Check out their weekly flyers on tncfood.com. Town & Country Foods in Bozeman, Belgrade, Helena, Livingston, Lewistown, Billings, and Dillon. Town & Country Foods, a stalwart of the Bobcat community and a proud sponsor of the road to Nashville at Skyline Sports. Skyline Sports is on the road to Nashville. We couldn't do it without Blackfoot Communications. As the Montana State Bobcats take Bozeman pride on the road for the national championship, Blackfoot Communications is proud to support the businesses that keep this community moving. With managed services, high-speed internet, and business voice solutions, Blackfoot delivers the reliability and local support Bozeman businesses depend on game day and every day. Blackfoot Communications has been around for more than 70 years, providing high-quality jobs to people around southwestern Montana. To learn more, visit blackfoot.com. Blackfoot Communications, powering Bobcats and powering Bozeman businesses. Last thing then, what is it going to take for Montana State to get it done, and what do you think this is going to be like if they do? This is something that's been a long time in the making for MSU.
Yeah, well, I've thought about that second part a lot.
Right?
To get it done, they just have to do what they do, right? Run the football. I mean, if there's been one frustration with the offense this year, even while they were winning all those games, I think people want them to run the damn ball more. And the line has kind of matured and figured that out. Certainly hope they got the penalties out of the way the first two playoff games, right? Because those were egregious. Justin has to play well. He has to make good decisions. And if he makes good decisions, and I think we got to get to their quarterback. I mean, I got to have a lot of time, and was carving up the Cats right up until it really mattered at the end. And then he didn't have any time. And it's funny how the game's different when the quarterback is running around with guys breathing on him, with Zach Cruz breathing down his neck and Kenny Iden and that whole front. So, and play mistake-free football. That's what Bobcat football is. If I was to try to put a little thumbnail description on it, run the ball, control both lines of scrimmage, and don't make any mistakes. And that's what the Bobcats do. And I think that's what they need to do in this game. And I think that you don't have to be a Superman. You just have to do your job as one of 11. And I think they have the players to get the thing done. When it happens, that's going to be a whole nother animal.
Oh, man.
Again, you talked about people of a certain age. I was 12 in '84. I was at the Rhode Island game. I got hit with a whiskey bottle when Joey Roberts dove into the snowbank because the fan in front of me threw it up in the air and it bonked me in the head. I'd never been so happy to have a contusion in my life. And as you know, those '84 guys, for me, 12 years old is the perfect age. I mean, they were like gods. We didn't have pro. Right. They were my guys, and they still are. I was at a dog park here about 3 weeks ago, and my dog's running around. I have a pointer, and he's running around with another pointer, and the guy's asking me about the dogs, and I had a Bobcat hat on. And he goes, "Oh, my high school teammate was on the '84 team," and I was like, "Yeah, he was." And he was one of the big nose tackles, and we talked about it, and those, you become eternal when you win. I see it with the Twins. Teams that win are eternal. And everyone's like, why is that guy still on? Why is that guy still on? He's wearing a big ring and nobody else is. Like, if you finish the job and win a national championship, these guys will be immortal. The name Taco Dollar will always mean something extra in the entire state of Montana. Now, he's already done special things, but he'll have that last piece of the puzzle. It's like what Thanos with all the stones. You got to get the last stone. And to win a title it's program altering, right? All the good things that they're already doing, you just get more. You get more money, you get more resources, you get more applicants to your school. I mean, that's why Wadad was so amazing, right? Like, that's why the school is bursting, and football is a great tool for the school to continue to get better and better. You get bigger players, better players, more guys want to be a part of it. That's what happens when you win the national championship. And that is something I hope is a problem we have to deal with. I'll be in Nashville with all my childhood friends. All the guys that I covered, will be there. I've been talking with Brent Swaggart,
nice.
And coordinating. Swags will be down there. And I think for all of us, whether it's me as a kid who grew up there and then got to call those games, whether it's the guys certainly first and foremost who played, I mean, they all feel like they got a piece of it, right? If you win the national championship, you feel like you were part of the bricks that you laid to build the foundation, and it would mean a lot to them. And everyone's had a role to play, going back to, to Krames breaking the streak. I think it took a certain personality and energy and human life force to turn that battleship around. He did it. I think we went into the Rob Ash time where a lot of us who have been part of the program felt not really part of it. They had some great players and they won a lot of games, but kind of didn't feel like really embraced the other Bobcats. And then when Choate came in, he was the ball of energy again, like Crames, and he welcomed everybody back into the barn. And now Vegan is just steaming along the freeway like an 18-wheeler. I think there's going to be a lot of tears and a lot of happy people in Nashville, and all the guys who just bought a hat on Broadway and are wearing white boots are going to be surprised that there's a bunch of real Cowboys coming to town looking to celebrate, hopefully on Monday night.
Well, it should be fun. Looking forward to seeing it down there. Looking forward to being on hand to cover it, and we'll see. But I'm thinking we're going to see some history made. So
I hope so, man. Hey, I got one thing I need to get out there. We talk about former Bobcats.
Yeah.
I did a show in Fargo, and they had a former defensive lineman for the Grizz on, and we were going back and forth before the game, and he was talking about 2 sacks in his last, Cat Grizz game, and the guy he was sacking was Casey Hart. Now, I've known Casey since he was a little kid, and I umpired his Little League games, but this is a message specifically for former Bobcat quarterback Casey Hart. He used our tickets a couple years ago, and he stiffed me the $80. So if anyone sees Casey Hart in Nashville, he still owes me $80, all right? So if you find him walking around in the celebration, I need 420s from Casey Hart.
We'll make sure to pass the message along. Thanks for being here, man. Good to see you. We'll see you in Nashville.
You do a great job in enjoying all the guests you've had on, and I hope you're doing a big celebration show following the game.